Okay, so picture this. You're walking down Hollywood Boulevard,
Mm.
grabbing a coffee and just soaking up that California sunshine.
Yeah.
You see a couple elderly women just chatting away,
Mm.
seemingly harmless.
Yeah.
Just another pair of grandmas and just showing their golden years.
Right.
But what if I told you these seemingly sweet ladies were actually cold-blooded killers
Oh.
who preyed on the most vulnerable members of society?
That sounds like the plot of some twisted thriller.
Right.
But the story of Helen Golay and Olga Rutter-Smith, the Black Widows of Hollywood,
Yeah.
this is all too real, and trust me,
Oh, I believe that.
the truth is way more chilling than any fiction.
I mean, we've all heard that saying, like, don't judge a book by its cover.
Right.
This case takes it to a whole other level.
Absolutely.
So where do we even begin to unpack this? I mean, these women were living seemingly normal lives, right?
On the surface, absolutely.
Okay.
Helen Golay, for instance, she enjoyed a lifestyle most would envy.
Right. A nice apartment, fancy cars.
Yeah. She lived in a nice apartment, drove fancy cars,
Always had money.
always seemed to have money to spare.
Or
But you
darn.
dig a little deeper,
Yeah.
things start to get a little murky.
Yeah, like where's it all coming from?
Yeah, there's no clear source of income,
Right.
no explanation for her lavish spending.
Yeah.
And then there's Olga Rutter-Smith,
Okay.
living a more modest
Uh-huh.
but still comfortable life,
Okay.
also with no apparent job or source of income.
So already some mystery brewing here.
Yeah, these financial discrepancies were some of the first red flags
Yeah.
that something wasn't quite right.
Okay, so how did these women go from living these, let's say, financially questionable lives
Right.
to becoming convicted murderers?
Well,
I mean, there's got to be a missing piece here.
that missing piece, unfortunately,
Yeah.
is the tragic exploitation of homeless men.
Okay.
See Helen and Olga?
Mhm.
They saw an opportunity, a twisted and heartless one, to use these vulnerable individuals for their own financial gain.
Man, this is where it starts to feel truly disturbing.
Yeah.
Like preying on people who are already struggling,
Right?
offering them some semblance of kindness,
Yeah.
but secretly plotting their demise.
Exactly.
It's chilling.
It is. And the truly heartbreaking part
Yeah.
is that these men, Paul Vados and Kenneth McDavid, they were actually hopeful for a better future.
Okay.
They were looking for a way out of their difficult circumstances.
Right.
And Helen and Olga, instead of offering genuine help,
Yeah.
used their desperation to fuel their own greed.
So walk me through their scheme.
Okay.
How did they actually pull this off?
Well, their plan was as calculated as it was cruel. They befriended these men,
Huh?
offered them a food shelter, even pretending to care for them.
Wow.
But all the while, they were taking out multiple life insurance policies on these men, naming themselves as the beneficiaries.
So they were basically setting these men up as walking life insurance policies.
Yeah, it's like something out of a horror movie.
It really is. So does anyone suspect anything?
You know, it's incredible how long they managed to fly under the radar.
Yeah.
Paul Vados died in what initially seemed like a hit-and-run accident,
Okay.
and Kenneth McDavid's body was found crushed in a dark alley. These incidents tragically could easily be dismissed as just another unfortunate statistic
Right.
in a city like Los Angeles.
Especially LA.
But thankfully, someone was paying attention.
Someone who wasn't blinded by those sweet little old lady smile.
Right.
Tell me more about this unsung hero.
His name was Ed Webster,
Yeah.
and he was an insurance investigator.
Okay.
Now, Ed wasn't initially looking into a double homicide case.
Right.
He was just doing his job reviewing insurance claims.
Yeah.
But Ed had this incredible attention to detail,
Mm-hmm.
and he started to notice a pattern.
Okay. Like what?
Multiple deaths,
Yeah.
all linked to Helen and Olga, all leading to significant insurance payouts.
So it was Ed who connected the dots, who saw through their facade and realized that something sinister was at play. That's incredible.
Ed's diligence was the turning point in this case.
Wow.
He alerted the LAPD,
Mhm.
who then brought in the FBI.
Oh, wow.
Suddenly, those seemingly harmless grandmas were at the center of a full-blown murder investigation.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat here.
Yeah.
Take us to the moment when the hammer finally drops.
Okay.
What happened when they were arrested?
You can imagine the scene.
Yeah.
Police swarming their homes, those sweet smiles replaced with looks of shock and disbelief.
Yeah.
But the most telling part was the reactions caught on tape.
Oh, really?
Olga attempting to shift blame, whispering that she knew nothing about it,
Oh,
while Helen remained defiant, clinging to denials, insisting she was innocent.
wow. That must have been a sight to see the mask finally slipping.
Yeah.
But I bet their act didn't fool the seasoned investigators for a second.
Not a chance. And once those arrests were made, the real drama began to unfold.
Okay.
We're talking a high-profile trial, a courtroom battle between two legal titans with very different styles. On one side, you had Roger Diamond, Helen's flamboyant attorney, a master of courtroom theatrics known for his dramatic flair and aggressive tactics.
Okay.
And then there was Michael Sklar, Olga's more reserved attorney,
Right.
a seasoned public defender known for his meticulous approach and quiet intensity.
Oh, man. Talk about a clash of personalities. This is where those true crime documentaries really get you hooked.
I know, right?
The courtroom becomes a stage, and the lawyers are the stars, and it must have been intense.
Oh, it was.
And, behind all the legal maneuvering, there was this constant underlying tension,
Right.
a sense that the truth, however disturbing, was slowly but surely being revealed.
Absolutely.
I can only imagine. Remember, folks, this is just the beginning. We're only scratching the surface of this twisted tale. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the trial, the evidence, and the shocking twists that sent shockwaves through the courtroom. This is one deep dive you won't want to miss.
So the trial begins, and right off the bat, the prosecution, they lay out their case with meticulous detail. They present a mountain of evidence phone records, placing Helen near the scene of Kenneth McDavid's death, witness testimonies about that suspicious Mercury Sable,
Right.
and of course those damning insurance payout details,
Yeah.
highlighting the financial motive behind it all.
It sounds like they were building a pretty solid case.
Right.
But with lawyers like Roger Diamond and Michael Sklar in the mix, I'm guessing the defense wasn't going down without a fight.
Oh, absolutely not. And this is where the courtroom drama really kicks into high gear.
Okay.
Remember, the prosecution's case relied heavily on circumstantial evidence. They couldn't definitively place Helen or Olga at the scene of each crime.
Right.
So their strategy was to weave a narrative,
Okay.
to connect the dots and create a web of guilt that tightened around those two women.
So how did the defense counter that?
Well,
Did they try to poke holes in the prosecution's timeline or discredit the witnesses?
Michael Sklar, Olga's attorney,
Okay.
he took a more subtle approach.
Okay.
He focused on portraying Olga as a naive pawn.
Easily manipulated by the cunning Helen.
Right.
He pointed to the interrogation tapes,
Yeah.
highlighting Olga's apparent shock and denial, emphasizing her dependence on Helen for, well, pretty much everything.
It's a classic strategy, right? Creating that distinction between the two defendants, hoping the jury might see one as less culpable than the other.
Exactly.
But what about Roger Diamond?
Oh.
I mean, this guy was known for his dramatic courtroom flair.
Right.
Did he try to pull any rabbits out of his hat?
Oh, did he ever?
Okay, what'd he do?
In a move that shocked everyone, Diamond went for a high-risk, high-reward gamble.
What was that?
Instead of directly defending Helen, he pointed the finger at someone else, her own daughter, Keisha.
Wait, he blamed her own daughter.
Yeah.
That's insane. What was he thinking?
Legally, it's called third-party culpability.
Okay.
It's basically saying, don't look at my client, look over there.
Right.
It was someone else entirely.
Wow.
Now think about the audacity of this.
Diamond is essentially trying to convince the jury that his client, a woman accused of murder for profit,
Right.
is actually a victim manipulated by her own flesh and blood.
Wow, that's a bold move.
Yeah.
And risky too, right?
Right.
I mean, accusing someone else without solid evidence could easily backfire.
Exactly. The prosecution was completely blindsided.
Yeah.
They had to scramble to counter this unexpected claim, all while still trying to prove their original case against Helen and Olga.
Right.
The courtroom was buzzing. The media went into a frenzy. It was chaos.
So with all this going on, what about the jury?
Yeah.
How are they reacting to these contrasting legal strategies, the dramatic twists and turns?
Well, as the trial progressed, the tension in that courtroom was palpable. You could practically feel the weight of every piece of evidence, every witness testimony, every word spoken by those lawyers. And then came the moment everyone had been waiting for, the jury's verdict.
Okay, let's hear it. What did the jury decide? Were they swayed by the prosecution's meticulous case? Or did the defense's strategies create enough reasonable doubt?
Well, the jury deliberated for what felt like an eternity. And when they finally returned, the courtroom fell silent. The verdict on some of the charges, they were hung, meaning they couldn't reach a unanimous decision. But on others...
Don't leave us hanging. What about the most serious charges, the murder charges?
Helen was found guilty of conspiracy and the murders of both Paul Vados and Kenneth McDavid. But when it came to Olga, the jury was deadlocked. They couldn't agree on whether she was a willing participant or a manipulated accomplice.
So a partial victory for the prosecution, but also a major cliffhanger. What happened next? Did they retry Olga on those deadlock charges?
Well, the judge was faced with a tough decision, but instead of declaring a mistrial right away, he did something quite unusual. He allowed both sides to present additional closing arguments. It's a rare occurrence in a murder trial, a second chance to sway the jury to emphasize the points they felt were most crucial.
Wow, a second round of closing arguments. That's unheard of. It must have been incredibly tense in that courtroom.
It was.
What did each side focus on in those final pleas to the jury?
Well, you can imagine the pressure was on. For the prosecution, it was a chance to hammer home their narrative of a shared criminal enterprise.
Right.
They reminded the jury of all the evidence linking Olga to the crimes,
Okay.
emphasizing that even if she wasn't directly involved in the murders themselves,
Mm-hmm.
her role in the scheme made her just as culpable.
And what about Olga's defense?
Well,
What was their last-ditch effort to convince the jury of her innocence?
Michael Sklar, Olga's attorney, delivered a powerful and emotional closing argument.
Okay.
He urged the jury to look beyond the prosecution's portrayal of Olga as a cold-hearted killer,
Right.
to see her as she truly was, a vulnerable, elderly woman who had been manipulated and exploited by the real mastermind, Helen.
So after all the evidence, the testimonies, the dramatic twists and turns, the jury had to make their final decision. What was the verdict?
After another round of intense deliberation, the jury finally returned with their decision guilty. On all counts, Olga Ruttersmith was convicted of conspiracy and the murders of both Paul Vados and Kenneth McDavid.
Wow, what a moment. It must have been a mix of relief and heartbreak for the victims' families. Did they have a chance to address the court, to confront the women who had taken so much from them?
Yes, the sentencing hearing was a truly powerful and emotional event. The courtroom was packed, filled with a palpable sense of anticipation and grief.
Yeah.
The victims' families, their faces etched with a mixture of pain and anger, were finally given the opportunity to speak, to confront the women who had stolen their loved ones from them.
I can't imagine the strength it took for them to face those women, to pour out their grief and anger in such a public setting.
It was truly heartbreaking. Sandra Solomon, Kenneth McDavid's sister, delivered a particularly moving statement. She spoke about her brother's struggles, his kindness, and the devastating impact his loss had had on their family. And she made a direct plea to Helen and Olga, begging them to reveal the location of Kenneth's remains, to offer some semblance of closure to their grieving family.
It's a reminder that behind all the legal maneuvering, the courtroom drama, there were real people whose lives were shattered by these heinous acts.
Absolutely. And then there was Stella Vados, Paul Vados' daughter.
Okay.
She spoke about her father's dreams, his hopes for a better future, all cruelly snatched away by Helen and Olga's greed. She demanded justice, a sentence that would reflect the gravity of their crimes, the immeasurable pain they had inflicted.
It must have been incredibly difficult for the judge to deliver the sentence, knowing the weight of those families' grief and the irreversible damage that had been done.
It was both. The courtroom fell silent as the judge prepared to deliver his pronouncement.
Yeah.
He spoke about the callousness of their crimes, their utter disregard for human life, their willingness to prey on the most vulnerable members of society for their own selfish gain. And then he delivered the sentence, life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Wow. Life in prison. It's a sentence that reflects the severity of their actions, but it can never truly bring back the lives that were lost.
No, it can't. But the judge's words, his condemnation of their greed and cruelty, offered a sense of validation,
Yeah.
a recognition of the profound harm they had inflicted.
So what happened to Helen and Olga after they were sentenced? Are they still alive? Have they ever expressed any remorse for their actions?
As of today, both women are still alive, serving their sentences in separate prisons.
Wow.
And incredibly, they've maintained their innocence all these years, clinging to the hope of overturning their convictions. But despite their attempts to rewrite history, their appeals have been repeatedly denied.
It's chilling, isn't it? The lack of remorse, the refusal to accept responsibility for the devastation they caused. It's a stark reminder that evil can wear many masks, that even the most seemingly harmless individuals can harbor darkness within.
It is, and while justice was ultimately served, there's a lingering sadness to this story. The victims, Paul Vados and Kenneth McDavid, will never be forgotten, and the pain inflicted on their families will likely never fully heal.
And what about Ed Webster, the insurance investigator who cracked the case wide open? Did he ever receive recognition for his incredible work?
Sadly, Ed Webster passed away in 2019. But his legacy lives on. He was a true hero, a man who used his sharp mind and unwavering dedication to expose a horrific crime and bring those responsible to justice.
Ed Webster's story is a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there are individuals who stand up for what's right, who fight for the voiceless, who refuse to let evil triumph.
It's a powerful message, isn't it, that one person can make a difference, that even in the face of overwhelming odds, good can prevail.
So as we conclude this deep dive into the chilling case of the Black Widows of Hollywood, what are the key takeaways? What can we learn from this tragic tale?
Well, I think it serves as a stark reminder that appearances can be deceiving, that evil can lurk beneath the most unassuming facades.
Right.
It challenges us to be more vigilant, to question our assumptions, and to never underestimate the allure of greed.
And perhaps most importantly, it reminds us to cherish those we love, to be grateful for every moment, and to never take kindness for granted.
Because sometimes the people who seem the most harmless can turn out to be the most dangerous, and the people who offer help may have ulterior motives. This case is a chilling reminder that the world can be a dark and unpredictable place, and that we must always be on our guard.
Well, folks, there you have it. The twisted and tragic tale of the Black Widows of Hollywood, a story that reminds us that truth can be stranger than fiction, and that sometimes the most ordinary-looking people can be capable of the most extraordinary acts of evil. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay safe.